travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Nobuhle Nkabane, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Good morning. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. Tshidi Madia standing in for Clement. I'll be with you until 12 this afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Happy Proteas ICC Test Champions Day. Champions are coming back home day, isn't it? They're going to be at the airport. So a wonderful day to you and you and you and so on and so forth. I'm really happy for the Proteas. We've often called them chokers. I think we can't do that anymore. These are champions who come back home today. Been watching scenes at OR Tambo, and I see people are gathered to welcome them back home. I think they're expected to land anytime, really, any moment now, coming in from Heathrow. And of course, Sundowns did well. I didn't watch the game. I believe Abel stayed up at midnight to catch that game. So they've secured their first victory. So yay, Cabo Yellow, well done to you guys. I want your thoughts on all of these in just a bit, but also coming up on the show.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Are your eyes watching what's happening at OR Tambo International? I'm very, very excited. I'm happy to see the country celebrating the Proteas. As I said, I think we often call them chokers. I think about the amount of times I've gone to like the Wanderers to watch a game and how you feel so disappointed that often people don't even finish a game when they see the Proteas choking, so to speak, where you see people literally walk out the stadium and it's empty while the game is still at play, while the match is still at play, because of how people feel. So I'm really, really excited. They're landing in just a bit, I believe. These are beautiful sporting wins. These moments for me are incredibly heartwarming. Remember listening to Themba Bavuma, our captain, speaking on what the championship means, and for him, for the team, and for the country as well. And a lot of what he spoke of is what he had taken from the rugby book, you know, when you watch the Springboks, and how for them very often it is about South Africa, the spirit of South Africa, and seeing us pulling together and having that euphoria, because we get so happy. We almost forget what South Africa actually really is in those moments. For me, though, this is what's been in my head all along. I don't know if you caught this on social media about Themba Bavuma. I want you to take a listen to this. It's been in my head.
Starting at HPB, you leading it?
Miss Themba, he comes from Langa. He came to score in Themba Bavuma. He comes from Langa, and he plays for Proteas. La 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 la. La 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 la, la 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 la. He comes from Laga and he plays for Proteas.
Comes from Langa.
Come on!
Isn't that beautiful? I absolutely love it for him. I love it for us. I love these moments, and I see even the Proteas women's team has scored a victory. They clinched the ODI series against West Indies. I love these feel-good sports moments. If you couldn't make it to the airport today to see the Proteas, I do know you've got a chance to see them tomorrow at Nelson Mandela Square between 1 and 3 o'clock. How do these moments make you feel? You know, when you're seeing that, and the turnaround as far as our sporting industry is concerned, and the feel-good injection I think that they give the country. Listen to Minister Gayton McKenzie himself speaking to EWN's Alpha Ramushwana a few days ago about what these moments mean and how our teams make us feel and how they've been performing.
We rate ourselves very high. I'll rate myself 12 out of 10. Ne? But the people are happy. Haven't you seen we are winning in sports? Have you not seen? The Springboks are winning. The cricket team is winning. We have the strongest man. We're even winning in sheep shearing. There was Vernon Allison. We are a winning nation. I remember there was a time when they said we are a bunch of losers. Now we are a bunch of winners. You know, every day, and when you open your Facebook, we are winning. Because you have a Vavavu minister that helps inspire. Even Bafana's winning. You know, under 20, every day you know somebody's going to win. Yesterday there was a win. We had 2 South Africans winning the Comrades. Tete and Gerda Steyn. So we are a winning nation. You must be a witch not to see how we are winning or to acknowledge. You must be a witch because South Africa has never won like they're winning under this government of national unity.
A Vavavu minister. Can I tell you what he's saying there? Ne? You must be a witch. Kaseperi bari. Osaring shate wa lawyer. And I can't disagree with that as far as performance is concerned. But I love how Gator McKenzie, like I give myself a 12 out of 10, of course. Gator McKenzie doesn't play himself down. Where's Pelela? That I know about that minister. Here's some of your voice notes. 011-883-0702 if you want to call in. 072-702-1702 for voice notes and WhatsApps. Here's some of your voice notes.
Morning, Tshidi. Mapari here. Report. Morning, Proteas. Hey, finally. Our sky is the limit. We're representing. The Minister of Education, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. Baby cakes, nothing is going to happen to her. Nothing at all. That's why they gave the GNU 4 Fs. Should be 5. Even like 10 Fs.
Good morning, Tshidi. Yeah, I just want to congratulate my team, Sundowns, for their first ever win at the Club World Cup in USA. I wish they continue to keep shining and raise our flag there very, very, very high. Talking from Amo from Dobsonville. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very sweet. I also think it's lovely. I'm not going to stay up until midnight like able to watch them. But the first thing I did do when I woke up is to look at how they performed. I am interested. I'm excited for them. There's lots of controversies about this club championship, right? Lots of controversies. I'm picking up on that. But for us, we must just be proud of Masanda Wana. Kabu, yellow.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
I'm personally tired of also speaking about Minister Nobuhle Nkabane. The higher education minister is exhausting me, if I'm being brutally honest, because she goes from one scandal to the next. And with really basic things, right, where you're expected to be just honest about what's happened, it's shrouded in so much. It's gum 1 minute, it is the inability to be actually held accountable the other. And then finally, we have what's happened this week. So the High Portfolio Committee has finally received the names. Remember, they've been wanting names from the minister of the panel that will oversee the selection of sector education and training authorities. These are the SETA board chairpersons. So she had been refusing for a really long time to give names. She clashed with the minister, with the MPs, which is why I'm saying we've seen these tough portfolio committee engagements, and she's been accused of being dismissive. I've been saying she fails to account to us, the Republic. It's not about the parliamentarians. It's not about those parties that are there. It's about speaking to South Africa's parliament and by extension to South Africans. So she had failed to do that, but she's now submitted a name. You've got the chairperson of the committee, Tabokolitsi, saying that they welcome the submission of the names. Those names, though, it's got 5 panels, 5 names on the panel. You've got Advocate Terry Muta, which is an interesting one. He's appointed chairperson, but he did not attend any of the meetings, they say. You also have Asisi Paul Solani, Nelisiwe Semani, Mabuza Ngubani, and Rulani Ngwenya. All these names have issues. Some of them come from her department, and now you need to remember that there were representatives from her department who knew nothing about the independent panel. Yet here you're hearing and you're seeing, based on what she submitted, people that come from her department. So as a result of the submission, the DA has said, unacceptable, that something is off here, that she's misleading Parliament. So they've now taken her to the Ethics Committee. They believe the minister's lying to Parliament. I want you to listen to a conversation I had with the DA's spokesperson, but also an MP and a member of the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education, Karabo Khakhau, about what they take issue with this independent panel from the minister. I cannot believe, once again, we're talking about this minister, and not in a good light. We also speak now to Karabo Khakhau, who's a DA MP and a member of the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Training. The DA is taking the Higher Education Minister to the Ethics Committee for lying to Parliament. Karabo joins us now. As I said, Karabo, you've decided that the minister has to be held accountable, and the pathway towards it is through the Ethics Committee. Talk us through that, and is it about the advisory panel that we now have caught sight of?
Good morning, Tshidi. Thank you so much for having me, and good morning to your 702 listeners. Tshidi, you're correct. It has everything to do with the CETA advisory panel, the selection and evaluation panel that the minister communicated to Parliament that they are the people that advised her on the appointment. You would know that we had 573 applications for the board CETA chairpersons, and out of those 573, the 20 that were appointed were clearly aligned to the ANC, predominantly from KZN, but also aligned to the chairperson, the national chairperson of the ANC, Nobuhle Nkabane. But it is upon reflections on those names that we obviously asked that the minister withdrew those names. But we also wanted to know who's this panel. So if you are saying there was a vetting process that went into this process, you must tell us what that vetting process looked like. She then eventually gave us the names of the panels, although she concealed one of them, and we still want to know that one mystery Casper the Ghost, who they are, because essentially they matter. But you would have noted that of the 5 that she's revealed, one is Advocate Tshidi, who was supposedly the chairperson of this panel, yet according to the minister, never attended any meeting, which then begs the question, who actually chaired this meeting? But we also know that Advocate Tshidi currently has a 2 million tender that is active within the city of Johannesburg via Loyiso Masuku's office, MMC Masuku's office. You'd also know, Tshidi, that Masuku was appointed as the chairperson of the food bev. So you can't have Tshidi having 2 million rand tender that is currently active. That is one tender amongst other tenders that Terry has with the city of Johannesburg. 2 million under Masuku's office, and then the same Masuku now happened to have been appointed as the food bev chairperson. That's number one. Number 2, you have Asisi Posolani. Asisi Posolani is a former SASCO leader, is a former member of the Western Cape Youth League, and is currently serving as an advisor of the Minister of Higher Education. There's no independence there. Number 3, you have Nelisi Wesimane, who's currently the Chief of Staff of the Minister in her office. There's no independence there. Number 4, Mabuza Nkabane is the Chief Director of CETA Coordination in the Department of Higher Education. The same Mabuza Nkabane in the meeting that we had on the 30th meeting of May lied to my face when I asked him what his involvement was in this, in the appointment of these people. And he said he knew absolutely nothing, that he was not involved at all. So that's problem number 1. Another problem number 4. And there is no independent there. And the last name that the minister reveals is of Rulani Ngwenya, who's currently the Deputy Director General for Corporate Services within the Department of Higher Education and held a DDG position on corporate management in the Department of Tourism before. So essentially our cry here, and the reason why we are taking the minister to the Ethics Committee, is simply on the basis that you cannot lie to Parliament and say that the process was independent, was fair, that the people who served on the panel have no absolute political connection to your office or the ANC, and then we get this compilation, particularly because it is very easy for us to see that these people were earmarked specifically for the outcome that we saw of the 20 appointed people out of the 573. But we're not stopping just by taking the minister to the Ethics Committee. We also want a full disclosure of the minutes. that these people of these people's meetings that they had in their consideration of these applications. Moreover, we also want to have a full disclosure of the report that was sent to the NSA, the National Skills Authority, on the final recommendation of these appointees. All of those things must still be able to come to Parliament, and all of these things should be ventilated in the next hour in the committee when it starts.
I know that Advocate Mutau, at least on my end, I've spoken to Advocate Tshidi Madia, who's not ready to speak to us yet. He wants to go deal with the committee itself. But he pretty much said to me, he had communicated that he could not get involved in this particular independent panel. Does that maybe explain to you why it took so long to try and get information about it? Is that there's so many gaps still? I mean, one of the names there, who's somebody who seemed to be credible, who you're now saying is actually also involved with business, linked to people who are appointed to the boards. What does that communicate?
Are you saying that when the minister asked Tshidi Madia to go form part of the panel, Terry said he couldn't do so?
That's my understanding. I think Tshidi Madia will approach, the advocate said to me, he will approach the committee. He had written a letter to say that he could not participate.
Then that makes things worse. Then we want him face to face, like we said, that including everybody else. Face to face, they must come tell us. Because if indeed Tshidi Madia had communicated to the minister that he didn't want to form part of the process and did not, eventually ended up not forming part of the process, then Governor lied again.
Yeah. What does it say about her? What does it say about her?
It means she does not deserve to be sitting in the office that she's sitting in. You cannot have a decision as important as this one that is responsible for how over 19 billion rand of the state's coffers is going to be governed. 19 billion rand that is responsible for the skills and development of young people who depend on those skills and upliftment for job opportunities so that they can eventually have an opportunity to put food on the table for themselves and their families. And you Mickey Mouse yourself through it altogether. Not only a spit in the face of young people of this country, it is a spit on the walls of Parliament, and it is a 100% a spit on the graves of our forebears who fought for us to be able to represent our people. Instead of representing our people well, she's taking us all for a ride. She's not taking her role of office properly. She's certainly not fit for purpose.
All right, thank you.
And this is why we've referred her to the ethics committee, because we can't. And we said as the Democratic Alliance, we warned, do not lie to us. Your way you govern must be accountable and it must be transparent. And if not, the poppers shall dance. And today we're saying as the Democratic Alliance, the poppers are dancing.
The poppers are dancing. Karabo Khakhau, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Tshidi. Bye-bye.
All right. So I had also reached out to MMC Loyiso Masuku, because if you listen to Karabo Khakhau, the claims around Advocate Tshidi Madia, she connects to the city of Joburg. If you think about it, that original list with the different SETA boards, Loyiso Masuku was appointed to one of those. The MMC says legal is under finance in the city. I would not even know who is appointed for what in my department, as legal services for the city are under the MMC of Finance, because the DA is pretty much claiming conflict for Tshidi Madia, who has contracts with the city of Joburg and who's chair of this particular panel that would have overseen the appointments of boards, and that's how the MMC's name comes into play. So I thank her for that clarity. I'm interested in getting more around Advocate Tshidi Madia. As I said, I spoke to him earlier. He's hopefully going to come on once he's dealt with the committee. He did say he wants to deal with that issue, but he spoke to me about having written a letter to the minister, which pretty much suggested that he was unavailable to participate. So why would you then say that this person is still chair? Why would you then still expect him to participate? How are you then constituting these particular meetings and having this panel do its work when the chair is not there? And the chair is written to you supposedly saying, I can't do this. What is the excuse that you use? Because then it sounds like you're dragging us into yet another lie, doesn't it? I'm waiting to see how the Advocate Tshidi Madia bit unfolds, because either way, the conflict with the city of Joburg arises. Whether or not he's saying she's telling the truth or not becomes another factor. As the DA says, the poppe is dancing. Hear your voice notes on this matter.
Hi, Tshidi. The rot that's inside ANC, it's like everybody's allowed to do anything that they want because everybody has a closet in their skeleton. So everybody gets to get away with anything. That minister, nothing is going to happen to her. I saw her the other day, last week, with the president in the same room. I don't know what they were doing. They were sitting right close to each other, as if like nothing happened the previous week at the parliament. Like, as if like it's all Rosie and Daisy. So nothing is going to happen. As long as nothing happened to the president, so then therefore all of the other ministers are going to take advantage of that situation because they've got dibs on him. So he's got dibs on everyone. Everyone's got dibs on everyone. So it's just a whole big mess.
Thank you so much for that. You know, I mean, I don't expect the president to be like, hey, stay away, get away from me. I don't expect that. I do expect him to be cordial. But you must remember, a lot of the statements and the U-turns that the minister's done and said, hey, it's stakeholders. It's not stakeholders. It was our boss. It was the president. The president was unhappy. That's why he's also come out saying he wants a report on ABCDE. I wonder what he says now. Because the conversation of a reshuffle definitely enters the chat. In fact, it should have a long time ago. I also hate the idea of everybody in the ANC being painted with the same light. I don't believe that everybody there is rotten. I don't think that's a fair assumption, but there's a question for me of consequence management, isn't it? That's a factor for me around many issues. We don't see it, and we don't see it being handled with the urgency it requires and being decisive. And those are parts and parcels of the problems. For me, when I always see those lists and the back and forth, I just see 2027. It's a succession battle that is playing itself out in her department, and she's allowed for it. The people that are appointed, that's part of the succession battle. The proxy, right? The patronage networks have moved on to boards, if you're paying attention, because GNU's made those parameters a little bit more difficult in government. So the playing field are these board appointments. That's what we must be looking at as South Africans. I've got Tabiso in Polokwane. Hi.
Hi. Really, I would at some point have understood why Advocate Mutau would have not participated, because there is no any legal basis to have an advisory committee to appoint chairperson of the board. I can assure you that even if they were so-called independent individuals, because they still know, and I was listening to your interview now currently with your member of parliament. Yes. You can realize that there is no one in this particular country that any political opposition or any other opposition that is actually different to the one that has to appoint will actually say these ones are independent. I mean, for an example, let me give you just a small example. The president has just announced eminent individuals. What did people say? Hey, these ones are ANC linked and all of that and all of this. But you see, the most important issue that we need to be able to debate on this particular matter is that who takes accountability on the appointment of the chairpersons of board. If the parliament says, okay, it's fine, there must be an independent, therefore they need to amend the legislation. That's their role. That's where they should play and say, legislation needs to be amended so that chairpersons of the board of sitters are appointed by an advisory panel that advises the minister. Here the minister decided on her own without any legal basis. So what do you do when you do not have any legal basis that support you to be able to do something, and it happens in this particular? Unfortunately, she just happened to have mentioned it in Parliament. And when mentioned it in Parliament, the answer was that can we have those particular names? Because it's just actually fishing everywhere. And that's happened on this particular committee. In many other appointments, how many board chairpersons have been appointed? Not necessarily on this one of higher education. Many. I mean, you can go to TIC.
I'm not a legal expert, so I'm not going to weigh in on that. But I'll weigh in on a minister who's then not able to be held accountable in Parliament, who lies, obfuscates, and that's part of the issue. What the DA is taking on with the ethics committee is that she lied. She lied about the panel's appointment. It's not about, hey, it's on the basis of failing to be open and transparent. Is that not an ethical issue? Is that not something we should expect from our leaders? Even if the legal, I can't argue the legal aspect. I'm not an expert. I can have to ask a question.
I agree with you on that particular one. Perhaps maybe you must get someone who understands the legal basis to be able to
I'll ask for help. I always ask for help.
That is what is important. So that as and when we debate whether she lied in Parliament or not, we are able to say what would have made her to say the word what you have said.
That's got nothing to do with the legal basis. I've got to go though. Thank you so much. It's not an issue of lying cannot be made. We can't excuse you lying in Parliament because anyway, of a legal basis. I don't agree with that. The issue of getting legal help, absolutely. Legal clarity, absolutely. But it still doesn't excuse how she's handled herself, right? She could have actually sought the legal advice. I'm running very late for news. I apologize.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Nobuhle Nkabane, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
9:38, you're listening to the Clement Manyathela Show. Some of you are saying to me, oh, Tshidi, are you paying attention? Are you paying attention? I am paying attention. I do realize that Floyd Shivambu has made an announcement, that he will make an announcement as our politics goes. He's made an announcement that he's got a media briefing tomorrow. The alert has no MK signage on it at all. So you can make of that what you will. It says members of the media are invited to attend a press conference. Explains where it is. It'll be tomorrow at 12 o'clock. I'm pretty sure I'll have lots to say about this, but I'll park it for tomorrow morning if you let me. I've also been thinking about the P. Diddy case. Am I the only one who's watching that, who's following that? You can't see it, so you follow the journalists who tell you what's happening about hotel freak-offs, hotel nights. It is scary what some of these people get up to, particularly the rich and famous. You also now this morning woke up to allegations being made against Tyler Perry. Is anyone paying attention? Let me know what you think. We are also, of course, discussing various other issues on the open line. We're speaking about the Higher Education Minister, Nobuhle Nkabane. And again, she finds herself in hot water. We are speaking, of course, about the Proteas. Have they landed? I think they've landed. I'm kind of trying to look at the TV. It looks like they've arrived. Abel, they've arrived, eh? Can you see? Even though I'm trying to look at the TVs on the other side. I'll let you know in 2 seconds. I want to go look at it properly now. But we are taking your voice notes and WhatsApps. 072-702-1702 for voice notes and WhatsApps. 011-883-0702 to call in and to share your thoughts.
Ash, as for our ministers, I am very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. You know, we were hoping that I will say young ministers, if given a chance, they will represent us well, fight for us. Look at this lady, education minister, the audacity, the attitude when she responds. She just doesn't care. She's just a silly, unmannered woman. I don't know, where did he grow up? Sitting in front of everyone, national TV or in the media, talking like that as if, no man, they are disappointing, man. Yarr.
Hi, Tshidi. Great show. Just a quick one. It's about Thema Bavuma. When you went to, actually in high school in St. David's, wasn't included in the first team for cricket, and to go on and captain the Proteas side that has won the ICC Test Championship is quite remarkable. Sometimes it just shows you that sometimes early setbacks just spur you on. The talent was always there, and I can't for the life of me understand why he wasn't included in the first team. But here he is, proving everyone wrong. So congratulations to the Proteas once again.
Good morning, Tshidi, my favorite political journalist. I would like to congratulate my team, The Sky's the Limit, Kabu Yellow, for winning last night. This is just the beginning. I know very well that we will win this tournament. Thank you very much. Peter Maila Machaba from Letswata.
Cabo Yellow. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for that. To the WhatsApp lines now. Morning. One should say congratulations to Sundowns. Apparently they won their first and only win. How do you know? Only win at the tournament, How do you know? How do you know that's going to be their only win? They've clinched their first win, which is fantastic. Says, however, theirs won't be compared to the Proteas win. Massive achievements, that one. I do not disagree about the Proteas. I was trying to look at the TV earlier, and sometimes my eyes let me down, but I can see now they're not in yet. At least they haven't made their way into that arrivals area where there's that large Tambo statue yet. Police are waiting. So I'll tell you a little bit about that moment as it happens. More of your WhatsApps. Good morning. Minister Nkabane is extremely arrogant yet incompetent. It's time for President Ramaphosa to take action against her. That's WCLA in Midrand. That conversation around the reshuffle is happening and it's growing. With every scandal, it grows. Another WhatsApp. I had so much respect for Advocate Mutau, and I'm disappointed that he involved himself in tendering in any sphere of government. I mean, thank you so much for that. I mean, the conversation around tendering is a different conversation for me, but the reputational damage that he's going to suffer from this episode, if he doesn't clarify, is actually very obvious. Remember, Advocate Mutau, in the Great Heist Report, it's one of those things that people speak about when they speak about great work, uncovering what had gone wrong at the VBS Bank, the collapse of VBS Mutual Bank. So people do hold him in very high regard. This absolutely taints him if he doesn't clarify it. He did say to me, as I said earlier, he wants to first deal with the committee, then he wants to speak to the media, saying that he will reach out when he's good and ready. I said to him, hopefully we'll have a conversation tomorrow morning. 011-883-0702 for calls, 072-702-1702 for WhatsApps and voice notes.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Nobuhle Nkabane, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
9:46. You listen to the Clement Manyathela Show. It is the open line. I'm taking in a variety of your issues. Whatever you want to raise, we still have time to try and deliberate over it, discuss it, unpack it, if you may. 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702. That's for voice notes and WhatsApps. Let's listen to some of your WhatsApps.
Hi, Tshidi, Andrew. I think with the Minister of Higher Education and Training, the President must just remove her. I think her behavior does not represent the sector, and I for one, am definitely disappointed and highly disappointed in her. She needs to be replaced as urgent as possible. Thank you.
Tshidi, good morning. Everyone can complain about ministers, the government, the GNU, the DA. I always complain about the leader, the first citizen of this country, Cyril Ramaphosa. Everything about Cyril Ramaphosa is a failure. And people are busy shouting at each other, scratching each other. Because that lady of Minister of Higher Education, you would have dealt with him quickly. Or Nkadimeng, or Nchabeni, or whoever. Even the DICOs are back. They're in government. Look at all those criminals are in government. Some of them are running portfolio committees, are there. Badge sitters on everything. Cyril Ramaphosa's government is a failure. But I'm not shocked. He took the ANC to 40%, and they have no one else to replace him with. So they continue with him. So they say the status quo remains and nothing will change. I don't know what we're expecting, Sindile.
Thank you so much for that. They do say a fish rots from the head down. I think that's the saying, né? And that's the thing, is you're the leader, you will take the fall. It sits on your shoulders, how a team performs. So when a minister is seen to be wayward and dishonest and arrogant and fails to account and all of that, it will always go back to the head of state, to the boss, the head of state. I don't know if it matters to people that the president has intervened. That's another thing I keep talking about, is at every instance where the minister's done a U-turn, has apologized, has actually never apologized, has tried to explain herself. I've not seen sorries in her statements, but every time she's had to explain herself or go back and undo processes, that's not happening because of her conscience or the kindness or because she's understands that people are outraged. No. It happens because the president is outraged. And it goes back to, if you think about it, it goes back to the performance reviews, right? So he would go and mark, in essence, right? Measure their performance of ministers. But we're not allowed to see that. And I think that's highly unfair, by the way, because they don't perform at the behest of the president. He himself, as an executive body, serves at the behest of us, the citizens. So this particular job he does for us. And so I've always had an issue with that as well. To your WhatsApps now, ST says, regarding Parliament and reshuffling regarding the Minister of Education, Ramaphosa is always hesitant when it comes to that. Even he was forced to act on Simelane. It was not a real reshuffle, but a shift. It's because he's also compromised himself. That's the thing. If you're in leadership and you don't act, you leave question marks about you. The dissatisfaction always goes to you. I always say to people, if you're a leader and you don't act and you don't curb and you don't deal with things that are going sideways, you don't curtail those, tomorrow you're the villain. And that's exactly what we are seeing around the president as well, isn't it? Hear more of your voice notes.
Good morning, Tshidi. Tshidi, you know the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, is not taking us serious. You remember what he did with the justice minister? He only swap. He take this one, he put it head there. He take this one, he put it there, so that you can be quiet. Now you all guys are quiet about the corruption that that justice minister did with the VBS, because now she's been removed there.
Good morning, Siri. You know, so far, I'm not surprised, about what is happening at CETA. I know many people that are getting money from CETA. We're not doing anything for education. We're not even connected to any structure in education. There is a lot of looting in CETA. They must investigate that. I know a lot about that. Thank you, Stephen Sebuking.
Thank you so much for those. That sentiment also around the reshuffling. It's one that you keep hearing over and over again, and that people are shifted to aid and to prevent them from being held accountable. That's something that also happens with political elites, eh? I don't want to go back to, I'm studying this thing, but it is also what I'm learning about, particularly the actions of former liberation movements. Think about what's happening across even our continent, right? Even on our region. It is happening back and forth. On Twitter, Thabo Moroke says, I'm following Ashley Banfield on the P. Diddy trial. Scary stuff. Like, actually really bad boy for life. It is astonishing, the stuff that's coming out of that particular trial. We're not allowed, there's no proper visual. It's very difficult to follow. So you must pick your journalist and follow that journalist. That's the best way I've kind of managed the Diddy trial, to try and figure out what's going on. But it is astonishing. And even the allegations. And if you listen to commentators, Kanye West, easy. His name is also being dragged into the conversation. There's something weird about that intersection of power and money and fame that's just really problematic. I've got a few more, I think, of your voice notes. Let me play those for you.
Morning, Tshidi. Morning, listeners. Like one of the previous voice notes or callers said, he's not surprised. I'm joining him. I've never been surprised at any one of these incompetent and impotent ministers or political parties, particularly one in particular. The point here is, in government, South African government, we know that corruption abounds much. It's about who has what on who owes who a favor, and so on and so on and so on. Fortunately or unfortunately, we in South Africa, we play the long game. We had 30 years of long years of corruption. Soon, this will come to an end. And then hopefully we'll have a proper government. Hopefully. God willing. Stay blessed.
Good morning. I agree with your sentiments about leadership and Cyril Ramaphosa. Without proper leadership, nothing can work. If we just look at another example, we have the Proteas who have just won the World Test Cricket Championship. They're returning as heroes to South Africa today. And who's been heralded as a hero there? Temba Bavuma, the captain. Why? Because without leadership, none of this can happen. Thanks, Justin.
Morning, I was Tshidi to your crew there, and morning to everyone else who's listening. You know, I was Tshidi, I couldn't agree with you more when you said we should take these sporting moments of victory and cherish them. And I think, Tshidi, we should take and use it as a foundation on which we can build the sense of national pride. You know, we can turn a country into a nation by means of a sport. And I'm also glad about what Mamelodi Sundowns did, though I still have qualms about the coach we sent there. We cannot really showcase, you know, that Southern African football blueprint, you know, the kind of football that Sundowns usually play. We couldn't have a coach who can do that, a coach who can showcase the world that we are an African country that can do wonders at that level. Because Coach Cardoso is playing a defensive kind of football, which is not that enterprising.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I remember, is it in Cairo? People are very unhappy with the coach's decisions. So I'm not surprised you're not happy about the coach that we've sent to the US. I'm not surprised at all. Thank you so much for that. Just to wrap up with some of your messages. Hi, good morning, 702 team and 702 land. I'd like to thank all our captains of our world-class winning champions teams for hanging our flag and pride very high on the world stage. And congratulations to all our winning captains and teams. That's Stephanus. I could not agree with you more, Stephanus, on that one. I think we should be very proud of our teams. I'm seeing more waving flags. I'm pretty sure the Proteas will be making their entrance at the airport very, very soon. More messages. The president can't do anything when it comes to the members of the ANC because he doesn't own the party. He's also an employee. So he as an employee can't boss other employees. It's different for EFF and MKP because those of owners is okay. I get you. I almost get what you say. It's almost an argument of internal democracy. I'm not going to comment. I'm going to leave that. Actually, let me leave that. Simon says, hi, I really feel our president. I feel for our president. On one hand, he's expected to be growing our economy, but again, he needs to babysit some of his ministers. That's Simon. Simon, yeah. I don't feel sorry for him on that basis. I must be honest with you. When you put your hand up for leadership, it comes with things like this. It comes with challenges like this. And you say that you are fit for purpose, that you're ready for the cause. So that's what the job demands. It's not just to be called president and we smile and we kiki with you. That's fantastic. But it comes with really hard, difficult decisions that have got to be made. And that's what we want. That's all that we want from our head of states. Thank you so much for your messages and your input.